Hello, it's Josie here, and you're listening to the Yoga Local podcast, or maybe you're watching, whatever. Welcome. I'm talking about something today that I talk about quite a lot, and it's something that is on my mind quite a lot of the time. And this is this intersection of bravery and authenticity, and also it speaks to some of the, I'm going to talk a bit more about the commercial aspects of yoga and how, as a studio owner, I can sometimes come across, this intersection of having to make decisions that require quite a bit of courage, and especially in an industry where I am discovering it's very much driven by fads and trends and things that kind of attract the attention for 5 minutes, kind of grab a moment, but don't necessarily speak to the full scope of practice and the full scope of yoga. And it's really frustrating because it's starting to, well, I'm not sure whether it's starting to, but for me, I think it overshadows the essence of what yoga is. So, I'm here working in my own way to kind of step into my authenticity, or step into integrity as to what our business as a yoga business is trying to achieve. What's our vision, what's our goal, what's our dream? And for me, it's about that. Well, we've just been working on it in class, actually. That's that tough love aspect of giving people what they need rather than what they want. And this can come up in our lives in all kinds of ways, right? And sometimes it's really important that we can step into courage, step into bravery, step into this integrity of knowing what is right on a very soul level, and not caving to something that might feel more comfortable, it might feel easier, it may even feel nice for a while, but overall it's like, are we letting our future self down by not taking the courageous step that we need to take now? And so one of the things that I'm coming up against all the time is yoga as an industry starting to really take the conversation away from a practice which is basically designed to help us find self-excellence, self-realization, understand who we are and what our place is in the world. It's like the ultimate personal development tool. And what we're getting, what we're seeing, is this just this ever kind of constant visual image of yoga as, and sometimes an extreme sport, gymnastics, extreme poses where we're sweating buckets, and it's very much become like this physical practice. And please don't get me wrong, I love a physical challenge, and I think it's really super important that we create challenge in ourselves physically, and there's ways and strategies to do that within the tradition of yoga. But it's kind of like the preparation. It's not the goal, it's the preparation for the journey ahead, which is, the Hatha Yoga 3-stage practice, going from Moon, which works on stabilizing the mind. When the mind is steady, we can then move into the more solarizing practices, which help us direct our energy skillfully from a stable mind, and then bring in the Hat and the Tha together, the sun and the moon, in order to kind of orchestrate the potential for fire, which is fire practice, stage 3. And that's when we can really work to go a little deeper into that realm of a subtle practice. It's not more physical, it's more subtle. There's more internal work that's required. And, the physical aspect of the posture was just there to prepare us, to help us be still in those moments when we're directing our energy inwards and starting to empower and expand that part of who we are. Okay, so it's such a difficult it's such a difficult conversation right now because, you know, and I've been guilty of it in the past before, where it's kind of like, you know, you just maybe want to like try something on, feel good for 5 minutes, not really necessarily interested in taking on something long term. But the truth is, and this is the brave part that's coming out, and it's the tough love piece as well, is that, you know, in order to master anything, it's going to take discipline, it's going to take dedication, it's going to take courage. We're going to have to start moving some things out of our way that are currently in the way. And nobody wants to hear that, right? And, you know, and as much as it's easy to say, okay, yeah, just do what you can when you can, and that's a really lovely sentiment, but it really doesn't help us master jack, right? We've got to think, right, actually, let's pull up our big, brave yoga pants and let's start to actually address the things that we need to address and start to follow this beautiful tradition in the way that it was meant to be followed, is to be taught the way it was meant to be taught, which is all about trying to find that inner harmony, both within us, so the inner harmony, but also that the harmony with our daily life. And unfortunately, for sure, the West has kind of tried to jump on the fitness bandwagon, you know, because it's the easier sell. That's my opinion on it. People are more open to doing something that will change their physical exterior, and not so motivated, or at least that's what, you know, the social media and the magazines and you know, all the information that's out there is kind of showing. It's like, you know, we want to get fitter, we want our bodies to be more smooth and toned, and, you know, there's very little conversation, unless you go looking for it, about how we actually start to develop ourselves on a soul level, on a spiritual level, and even, you know, this is not religious. This is about understanding ourselves and wanting to move ourselves from where we currently are to where we want to be, and starting to look at how we go about that. But it has been diluted. The whole yoga conversation has been diluted into this one size fits all workout routine. You know, classes are randomly placed on the timetable. There's no kind of systemized working towards an outcome. There's very little work to improve or build the breath, which is the key to then being able to start to direct our energy. And it's an energy conversation at the end of the day, and we're moving into more dense expressions, into more subtle. And so the whole idea that, you know, you're a better yogi if you can, you know, hold a posture for an indefinite length of time, or, you know, by the size of the pool of the sweat on the floor after you've completed your practice, is really unhelpful at best. And that's an uncomfortable truth, because, you know, many of my peers, many of my colleagues, that's how it's being taught. That's how teachers are being taught to teach. So it's a bit like, well, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And, you know, and so the cycle continues. And this comes back to my conversation about being brave and being courageous in what you believe to be true and what you believe in as an individual, which is going to help move things forward. And for me, yes, there's that argument that these modalities, these different types of introductions to yoga can then maybe spark an interest for someone to go deeper. But for a lot of us, it's just keeping us stuck. It's just keeping us stuck because on some level we think, well, this is what it is. This is what yoga is. This is how we practice. There's not even an indication. There's not even a next step provided. that just gives us that idea that there's more to explore here. And that's what I think is fundamentally the problem with a lot of the way yoga classes are structured. They're just drop-in classes, one and done. They're not really moving you from one space to another. There's no system. The vinyasa krama is just random. There's no energetic sequencing. And yeah, we're getting a good stretch. Potentially we're getting to relax. That will all have an impact on the central nervous system, and therefore there is something to be said for doing that work, but it's not yoga, and it's not moving us towards the state of yoga that will give us that higher reality, that ability to expand our level of presence, our level of awareness, our perception, our view on the world, which then helps us to become a more healthy human being, a more expansive human being, someone who takes on challenges a little bit more with more resilience and can really navigate the world in a way that's not so reactive and triggering. So bravery means standing up for what we believe in, and we believe in the Hatha Yoga progression as the means, as the scientific means to getting us from our most restricted sense of self to our most expansive sense of self. Moon, Sun, Fire is the traditional map that we follow and that we offer here. Yes, there's prep practices. Yes, we'll work on our strength. Yes, we'll work on finding that more physical aspect of practice, but it's all in order to. It's not the be all and end all. It's not the overall goal. And so that also means that and start to recognize that true transformation doesn't come from perfecting a handstand. It doesn't come from perfecting an arm balance. It doesn't come from achieving a certain body type. It comes from those harder things that we maybe don't work on quite so much, which is discipline, which is dedication, which is focus, awareness, presence, self-reflection, not avoiding what needs to be seen, what needs to be addressed, but actually going into it as a route to moving beyond it. And often I think a lot of classes are just repacking. We're going in and repacking our energy rather than transcending it and moving it into something more evolutionary, something that will help us to grow and evolve. So as yoga teachers, if you're a yoga teacher, as yoga practitioners, if you're practicing, I think we have a responsibility. And again, this is me stepping out and being brave and just saying my piece, and everyone has their opinion. But I think we have a responsibility to our students, to our community, if we're practicing within a community, to educate and to empower and start to explode these limiting ideas about what it is to practice, and to guide ourselves and our students on this journey through the traditional practices to growth. And sometimes that might mean our classes aren't particularly trendy. You know, you won't find a goat for love nor money in my studio, and neither a puppy, as much as I love puppies. You know, let's resist the real kind of pressure, right? The pressure to conform, the pressure to be just like everyone else, the pressure to just get people in at any costs. And let's embrace our authenticity. Let's embrace our vulnerability. Let's be courageous. Let's be brave, both off and on the mat. And yeah, let's just remember that yoga doesn't rely on a perfect pose. The success in yoga does not rely in you being able to perfect a vinyasa, but it's in the self-reflection, it's in the self-discovery. And if your practices aren't making time for that, and if it's not leading you to a place where you are feeling like in your life you are evolving and growing, and that doesn't mean that like everything is rosy out there in your garden. Like, things come up, life happens, but how are you handling those ups and downs? How are you handling those challenges? Are you still repeating habits? Are you in patterns of behavior that seem to keep cropping up? It's a good sign if you're not kind of moving forward, and if you're constantly coming up against the same challenges, that your practice is not working, right? You're not working in the right way. So, why waste our time? Why waste our time like tinkering around the edges? And let's find those techniques, those tools, those teachings that are really going to help us to learn to master something, and just be brave and accept that this is going to take some will. This is going to take some determination. This is going to take some planning. This is going to maybe interrupt what you're already doing. So be it, right? What's the alternative? Just carrying on doing what you've always done, expecting different results. We all know that is the ultimate sign of insanity, right? So let's not do that. Let's keep practicing. Let's keep growing. Find the teachers out there who are willing to be a little bit more courageous, who are not just giving in to the fads and the trends, who are not just providing something that makes you feel good for 5 minutes. They're there to look after you and support you throughout your entire life journey, your entire yoga journey, and that they have done the training and they've embodied the teachings themselves to be able to help guide you. They don't have to be a fully enlightened being. They just need to be maybe a few steps ahead of you and bringing you in the direction, and always being on their game. So have the courage to question your teachers, and courage to question the owners of the studios around you. What is their big vision? Are they there to kind of lay on class after class and add variety and interest and entertainment? Or are they there? Are their classes structured and sequenced to help you move and grow and evolve into all you can be? Because I can guarantee that's what we're doing here, and I'm brave enough to kind of put my neck out there and say it, because I passionately believe it. And it's not always been the case, because I've been led down a garden path along this whole yoga journey as well, wondering constantly, what is it? There must be more to this. How do I learn how to do these things? And never really getting the answers. And it's just through doggedness and stubbornness and my insatiable curiosity to ask questions that I understand now that we need the map. And hatha yoga, the traditional hatha yoga journey, and in my case the tantric elements are structured in a scientific way. They've been passed down orally. They're not something that I've made up, creative and fun and entertaining for you to do. This is something that's been passed over thousands of years, has been revered, has been protected. So much of what we know today has been or what we don't know today is because it's been lost. It's been lost because it's been destroyed over the years by whichever kind of powering ruler there has been at the time. The yogis were able to keep this preserved, these teachings and traditions preserved, because it wasn't written down. It was passed on orally, and it was protected, and the Indian culture has done such a good job of preserving it for humanity. So let's honor that, right? Let's honor the dedication of the people and the sages that have gone before us and are here trying to serve in a way that is going to really help you with your human life and all that goes with it. So if you're ready to be brave, maybe not conform, maybe try something different, maybe something that's not quite so trendy, but will so absolutely give you the results you're looking for, come and check us out. We're online, so there's no excuse. Yes, I've got this beautiful studio here in Wellingborough, but also we have an app where you can access all moon, sun, fire practices, meditations, pranayamas, that are presented in a way that help you to move from where you are to where you want to be, not randomly thrown at you and you've got to figure it all out. What class am I supposed to be doing? There's a very clear pathway that you can follow, and I would be absolutely thrilled if you choose to follow that path with us here at Yoga Local. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Please do feel free to chime in with your opinions, your comments. I'd love to hear them. So thanks very much for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.